Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to the Project 1999 Everquest Classic server, where we join Relinar here in Neriak Commons in front of the forge, because today we're going to go over a quick blacksmithing tutorial. As you can see, I have reached skill level 175 in blacksmithing, and I started from 0. So to start from 0, a lot of people go to the class trainer and spend some valuable skill points going from 0 to 21. I didn't do that. I don't think it's necessary. You can skill up to level 21 making metal bits, and you're going to need a full backpack of metal bits anyway, so that's what I did. So from 0 to 21 I made metal bits. To do that, you basically take 2 pieces of small ore, a flask of water, and you hit combine on the forge and you get some metal bits. And I have a couple here, so I'm just going to finish these off. So there you are. So basically you want a full backpack full of them, a full 8-slot backpack. So I filled up an entire backpack of just metal bits. Now from 21 to 41, what you want to do is you want to make studs. But before you can do that, you have to make a file. So to make a file, you take 1 metal bit, 1 flask of water, and a file mold, and you throw those together, hit combine, and you get a file. Fantastic. Now to make studs, it's going to cost you 3 metal bits. You're going to have to add the file to the forge and a flask of water, of course. And you will get the file back, and if you're successful, you will get some studs. Now we don't really need these studs for anything, so after you're done reaching skill level 41, you can just sell them to the nearest vendor. Now from 41 to 56, we could make sheet metal. The problem I have with doing that is making your own sheet metal is kind of expensive, so I don't like to do that for this range. What I like to do is I make lanterns. Now you can't make lanterns in Neriak Commons. You have to zone over to the Neriak Foreign Quarter, and then as you exit, you take a left up the ramp towards the ogre and troll area. There'll be a female ogre named Ungia who will set you up with these lantern casing molds, and you want to look in the taverns for a merchant that will sell the bottles. So from 41 to 68 we make lanterns, and that is what we need the metal bits for, because you're going to need 1 metal bit, you're going to need 1 bottle, you're going to need 1 lantern casing mold, and of course a flask of water, and you hit combine and you make a lantern. Huzzah! So you do that until 68. Now that you reach 68, making sheets is trivial, and you can come back and make them. But we'll hold off on that for one more minute, because to go from 68 to 102, you make banded bracers. To make banded bracers, you will add a water, a sheet metal. Oh, actually, let me make the sheet metal first. To actually make sheet metal, you basically buy these 2 small brick ores. Notice that they don't stack, so that's going to be a problem. The vendor that sells these isn't very close to the forge. They're sort of past the bank. In Neriak, you go past the bank and you go into the tavern called the Blind Fish, and for whatever reason, the 2 of the smithing material merchants are in the tavern, and then that's where you buy your small pieces of ore and these small bricks of ore. And these are heavy, so these weigh 15 units each, so you have to load up with like maybe 8, 10, or 12, and then walk back to the forge very slowly. I like to call it the Roleplay Walk, because you're just walking very, very slowly. And then you throw two small bricks, a flask of water, and you make sheets. And there we go, we have a sheet. Then you take the sheets, and then sheets, water, and whatever mold you're making. This happened to be making a belt, because that's my last piece of bandit I need. But you want to make bracers from 68 to 102. Okay? And then once you hit 102, you want to make banded gauntlets from 102 to 135. And then, oh, excuse me, you want to make boots from 102 to 135. And then you want to make gauntlets from 135 to 168. Then you want to make cloaks from 168 to 175. And then you have maximized your blacksmithing skill that you can make by creating banded. So I want to make a belt, because that's my last piece. Belts take 2 sheets and the mold, and combine those together, and voila, we get a belt. So sort of the disadvantage of playing an old school, I should say old world evil race, meaning the dark elves, the ogres, and the trolls, is that you have to make your own sheet metal. So it takes a lot longer to skill up because you can't just buy sheet metal off of a vendor. You can buy sheet metal off of a vendor in Freeport and Toxtulia, Kinos Hills, Greater Fadark, and Caerulus. So if you're an evil Ixar, you can buy sheet metal there, but if you're old world evil, meaning before Kunark, you cannot buy sheets from a vendor. So you have to make your own. So that's pretty much it. To go from 68 to 175 blacksmithing, making your banded pieces, you're going to need about 5 full backpacks of sheet metal, because the lesser trivials need 1 sheet, then you move up to 2 sheets, and so it can get pretty labor intensive playing one of these evil races. So that's just one thing to consider. But that's pretty much it. You make 1 backpack full of metal bits, you make studs, then you make lanterns with those metal bits, then you work on banded all the way to 175, and you make your sheet metal all the way there. So that's pretty much it. I do have a full set of small banded now. I've actually already sold some pieces just while I've been making it. Let's see, I have a little list here of what I've sold. I've already sold chest, legs, boots, face, collar, cloak, and a belt. Totaling... I basically sell it for 1 plat per armor class. So for example, this male piece has 15 armor class, so I would sell that for 15 plat. That's pretty much the standard rate, and I've made about 52 plat or so by selling those items. So it's just one more thing we can sell while we're hanging out in the tunnel. So I think that is it. Oh, I did have some extra sheet metal, and with the extra sheet metal I built some forged javelins, another item we're going to sell in the tunnel. These cost about 12 plat per stack to make, and we're going to sell them for about 50 plat per stack once we're in the tunnel. So these are really popular for classes that pull the monsters back to the group, because they are a throwing weapon usable by warriors, rangers, monks, bards, and rogues. They have a range of 205, and that is a very far range, so that's why they're highly sought after. So we're going to add those to our sales as well over in the tunnel. So let's see. Oh, I do have some accounting. The total time from 0 to 175 for Reladar was 5 hours because we had to make all those extra sheet metal combines. Just how it is. I thought it would take about 3 hours, but it took a little longer because I forgot to add in the extra time needed for the sheet metal. And unfortunately, the making of the sheet metal is more expensive than just buying it off the vendor. It's almost twice as expensive. So our total plat expenditure for blacksmithing was 609 plat. And this is all the plat that I have left. But you can see I do have these javelins to sell, the stack of zombie skin to sell, and also 12 stacks of leather padding, and I'm working on a 13th stack. So I do have a lot of things to sell. I'll be doing that next. And after I sell all these things, I'll be focusing on leveling to 15. I'll probably just kill some orcs. Maybe I'll do a little video about that. And after I hit 15, I'm going to start to focus on leveling a bit and getting out and exploring the world. So stay tuned for that. Until then, safe travels.